Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. It's time to lace up your boots. Our next guest is going to take us on an adventure to some of the most incredible landscapes our country has to offer in his new book, Hiking Hidden Gems in America's National Parks. We welcome Ted Alvarez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So how do you go about putting such a big project like this together? There are so many amazing parks and then hidden gems in those parks. It must have been quite the task.
Yeah, it's quite an undertaking. For most of my career, I've been hiking and writing about the parks. So there's a backlog of trips and knowledge there. But then, of course, when it comes to hiking hidden gems, you need to go deeper. And so I leaned really hard on contacts and friends, rangers, people who've been going to these parks for a long time. And then, of course, I got to do some scouting trips myself, which is probably the best part of the job.
That's pretty fun. Well, and yeah, every part of the country is really covered in some way here. I saw Crater Lake and things from Hawaii. Do people kind of forget about Hawaii when they think about national parks too?
I think so. I think that's very possible because, you think of it as a vacation land and plenty of people spend time on the beach. But really, the way these islands were formed, from the volcanism and the geological processes, create these amazing landscapes. And so you have these incredible mountains and lava and rainforests really too. So there's just so many ecosystems. So yeah, it's easy to forget that the interior of these islands have really spectacular parks.
So you go on all these adventures and you've got these photos to put together, but then you've also got kind of stories of how you went along your journey. How do you kind of put it all together into book form? That's not easy.
I mean, that's the trick, right? And I think what we tried to do here was really give readers the opportunity to experience the soul of each park and try and understand something greater and bigger about both our country and our culture, and in many cases, the cultures that were there long before we were a country. So that way you can just get to know these places and want to really get invested in visiting them.
Now, how challenging are the hikes in this book? Are there different levels for beginners and experts?
There's quite a range for sure. We have plenty of beginner hikes, but there are expert hikes as well. We tried to be pretty careful about not including anything that's really beyond the pale, or if it is quite difficult, we'll definitely let you know so that you're not getting yourself into something that's perhaps a little bit beyond your skill level. But there's something for everybody in here. And ideally, you can level up as time goes on, maybe start with beginner hikes and then start moving into more expert hikes and even backcountry stuff like camping. That's actually the best way to find hidden gems, is to really spend the night out there in the backcountry, which, some people are ready for, some people aren't, but I'm a big fan, so that's what I try to convert as many people as I can.
Yeah, make it a whole adventure. I want to make sure we get to the image of Crater Lake that you've included because it's so beautiful, and I think a lot of us here in the Pacific Northwest maybe take for granted how special it is, because I've been there multiple times in my life, but it's breathtaking every single time.
Yeah, it's truly one of the most spectacular places. There's a certain kind of park that I like to call stop and stare parks. And these are parks where the instant you show up, you're blown away. And Crater Lake is one of those. And it's pretty easy to take it for granted in the Northwest. But yeah, I'm not from the Northwest, got here as fast as I could. And part of it was the bewitching landscapes in places like Crater Lake that are they're just beyond. So we may take it for granted, but I think, as soon as you see it, that's why we keep going back, right? It still remains incredible.
Yeah, worth every trip. There's also some incredible images from sand dunes in Colorado. Can you tell me more about that landscape? Wow, these are so stunning.
Yeah, the Great Sand Dunes, that's a park that's especially close to my heart. It's close to where my parents live in Colorado, and so I've been many times, and it just represents how otherworldly these parks can be. I mean, you have the tallest dunes in North America, surrounded by they're kind of set in a bowl and surrounded by the Rocky Mountains, and they just look so unexpected. It truly does look like something out of a sci-fi movie like Star Wars or Dune, where like just these sand dunes erupt out of the valley floor to be surrounded by these snow-capped peaks, and it's just a really, really special, unique place.
One, getting to put all these things together in a book really illustrates the diversity of all of the beautiful nature that we have throughout all of these parks. If we can show Glacier Bay next, I mean, we've seen so many different types of backdrops here. This is just so incredibly gorgeous.
Yeah, Glacier Bay is another really spectacular one. Obviously, Alaska has probably the most parks, I think, out of any of the states, and but so many of them are undervisited. Glacier Bay is not one of them, but the majority of people who go there are on cruise ships, and so to really kind of experience that place, the Calvin glaciers, whales, you can get pieces of it from a cruise ship for sure, and definitely take advantage if that's your way. But getting out and kayaking and again spending more time there is just a way to really connect with that, really mind-blowing landscape.
Yeah, really cool. Hey, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Ted's book again is Hiking Hidden Gems in America's National Parks. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.